Hello, hello, hello. I am your androgynous android game show host from the future, Nathan Blades. This is the Neon Costa Twitch channel, and welcome. We start the stream immediately with a raid. That's beautiful. I love that for us. Hi,
Whoa!
fam of the VTuber tabletop. Who've previously been doing some Dungeons and Dragonsing, moving from one tabletop RPG to another. You were just in time to go and see a brand new tabletop RPG. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's not just me, this ominous voice this evening. But we also have two fantastic guests. We have returning to the show once again, friend of the show, Ruben. Hi, hello.
Tank Fly Boss Walk Jam Nitty Gritty. You're listening to the boy from the Big Bad City. Hi, it's me,
Hi,
Ruben,
hi.
from the show, from the everything that Nathan ever does.
Yes, yes. Compatriot.
Yes.
And joining us today, the very special guest who wrote the game that we're going to be playing. Please, everybody, give a warm welcome and a round of applause to Jess.
Hi, I'm Jess the Fiend, also known as Jess from Online, usually. And yeah, like Nathan said, I wrote and will soon be releasing I Have the High Ground. Also going Rogue, a few other games, short stories, music. I do a lot of different things. Thank you, Nathan, for having me on today.
No problem, no problem, no problem. So apologies to all y'all for us starting a little late. I have had nothing but audio tech issues for the last 2 days. I'm really glad that we could get this over the line. It does mean that this session, unfortunately, is going to be without background audio, which is very rare for me. But these two storytellers are so absolutely entrancing, you will not fucking notice.
Nathan has gone through hell and high water just to get this to launch. So can we get some poggers in chat, everyone?
Yeah, no, that'll help. That'll help it. But okay, with that out of the way, let's go move over to webcam, and we'll make sure that that was all working too. It was working before. Let's try. Wow, that transition is very long. Okay, no, this all works fine. Hello, hello. They can see your beautiful faces now. You dressed up for the occasion and everything,
Oh,
which
there
I
I
always approve of. Looking fabulous, darlings. So, Jess, why don't you tell us about I Have the High Ground?
So, I Have the High Ground, as I usually introduce it, is a two-player dueling game of banter, posturing, and capes. What does that mean? So, plenty of TTRPGs focus on the actual combat. But when I say that it is a dueling game, I Have the High Ground is about those tense, dramatic moments before a duel starts. When you show up on the high catwalk with your cape fluttering behind you, sword still in its scabbard, and you're gloating and talking about how much more impressive your record is or how easy of a fight this is going to be. That's the moment that I Have the High Ground captures. And in fact, the game ends when the first blow is struck. The loser is required to actually hit the other person for the first time because they lose their patience, lose their cool, get frustrated, and decide there's nothing left to say. The drama is in how the characters interact, talk, even just posture. You can go a whole round and not say anything, just standing over someone in an imposing way. So the mechanics are inspired by competitive fencing, and it uses the terms of fencing and swordplay to help you help inspire and direct the ways that your characters banter and posture with each other. So yeah, that's the basic pitch of the game. It can be played in any genre. It's GM-less, so Ruben and I are both players in this game. Usually takes about an hour or two.
I used to fence for about 2 years, fencing foil. So when you mentioned that the main mechanics of this game are inspired by sport fencing, I'm like, oh, what? Ooh, I love that.
That's so exciting. I found out my artist, who I had already planned to work with, I'd worked with Ezra a couple times before. I reached out to Ezra being like, would you want to be the artist for this game? Ezra also worked on Dream Askew, Dream Apart by Avery Alder and a couple other TTRPG projects. And I reached out and I was like, you want to do this? And Ezra was like, oh, I was actually in a sword troupe in high school. So this is really cool for me. And I'm like, what? I didn't know I knew all of these swords people, apparently. It's very exciting.
Nice. Well, I'm going to be talking relatively little through the process of this. I would just be DJing, but what I will offer to do is being, any scene setting, any NPCs you might need for the events at hand. Please do summon me from the ether and I will appear. But otherwise, I will leave it to you two. Oh, also, I will be operating the little advantage token, the position
Priority.
token. So once that's relevant, it will appear. But otherwise, take it away, Jess.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the production. I've never gotten to play the game with like moving graphics. Very exciting. So as I was saying, I have the High Ground is a dueling game, and it has built-in setting and character creation. You can import your existing characters. So one thing that you can use I have the High Ground for is to like play out a scene from a game that you're already playing. But in this case, Ruben and I are going to make original characters on the fly. We've only decided like general setting and names. Do everything else right in front of you. I'll also give you all a link to the game if you're interested in picking it up yourself.
Ooh, we have a command for that.
Oh, interesting. Perfect. Yeah. So we're on late pledges for crowdfunding. There's only about a month left, and then you won't be able to late pledge anymore. And I'll get back to a little bit more about what you can get on there later. But I will say, exclusively for this stream, yesterday I ran a little promotion around like the release of Obi-Wan Kenobi because, you know, I have the High Ground famous line. And you could get a discount where you could get a premium set, which comes with a bunch of things we'll talk about later, but also a handwritten dedication from me and a what was I say? And an early access copy of the PDF just for free. That closed after yesterday, except to all of you. It is now password protected at that link, and it's over, Anakin. No caps, no spaces. I'll put that in chat. If you just put it's over, Anakin, you will be able to still access that bundle for free, or access that bundle with free add-ons, even though other people can't. So thank you so much for coming to the stream. Ruben, are you ready to get started? I just hit my mic.
I'm just flabbergasted by this, but it's extra bonuses. Look at all this. Look at all this extra
Exclusive
combo meals.
content.
You're getting good content. You're getting not just a dinner and a play, you're getting the dessert as well. So please make use of that. Anyway, I'm very, very ready for this.
Awesome. Okay. So I have the High Ground character creation. You go through a like series of things that you pick together to create the setting and the characters. We've already decided on genre, which is the first thing. We're doing a space opera. The second thing that we do is stakes. And so for stakes, this is deciding like what is won or lost in the battle that follows your duel. So like when we actually fight, how much is going to happen? What are the consequences? And the three options are actually named for competitive fencing. So you have foil, which is what apparently Nathan fenced, saber, which is a heavier weapon than foil, and epee, which is the generally the heaviest weapon in competitive fencing. For foil, this is low stakes. This might be a fencing match or a boxing match or a bar fight. Like people might get hurt, but no one's probably going to die. This is probably like a matter of pride. Saber is meaningful stakes. This is like often will be fatal, or at least might be fatal, a duel between knights for the fate of their lords, or a quest for mortal vengeance, or like a melee in the trenches of a larger battle going around behind you. That's going to be saber. Finally, epee. Towering stakes. Entire battles or wars might be lost, won or lost based on this, or your hackers vying for control of a life support system, and like whether you live or die, or the whole ship lives or dies based on who successfully hacks this thing the first. So, Ruben, do you have feelings about like what level of stakes our game is going to have?
Well, I really like my just fights to the death.
Awesome. So at least saber.
At least saber. Whether or not it's like you know, I don't want to fight just knowing that like if I lose, there's going to be like families and babies, you know, there's going to be suffering. But it might be fun to just like have a tete-a-tete that is like very personal, but is directed through the channels of military engagement.
Absolutely. So it sounds like saber is good stakes where it's like personal for the two of us. And maybe like, maybe I'm not on the bridge of my ship. Maybe we have some sort of like melee coming up that has like brought us together and us alone. But we can work that out as we go.
I agree. Saber sounds appropriate.
Perfect. So next up, we choose history. And we're going to choose 1 to 2 from a list of options. And the other thing is we can always come back to this if we want to adjust or get more inspiration. We can choose one now and one later. As I say in the rulebook, rules are inspiration, not limitation. They're there to help you, and I recommend them. But if you figure out something that you think is better, it's okay for this character creation to take the form of a conversation and to hop back and forth. But I'm going to read out loud our options for what our character's history might be, which is betrayal, rivals, arch nemesis, revenge, mutual respect, or unrequited respect. One of us respects the other, but that is not returned. Former allies, unrequited love, strangers on the battlefield, mentor and mentee. Ooh, a few are missing from this list. To be taller than your opponent and to be your opponent's exact type. Also, superior fashion and superior weapon. So I wanted to ask, are any, oh, no, sorry. Those are advantages. Those aren't history. That's why they were missing here. Never mind. I got carried away with some of the favorite things that I've written and literally transported them earlier into my rule book. Okay.
I love that though. Like the just, I have 1 inch over you that decides our relationship. Our working relationship is defined by the fact that I am a short king. You know?
Yes, absolutely. We might have to come back around to that when we're picking advantages. So are any of these options for history calling out to you?
I love betrayal. To do it in real life, to do it in fiction, just like trading, that's not betraying and being a traitor, just my top 10 things to do.
Absolutely. And so I feel like when we were in chat beforehand, we were already getting these visions of like, maybe I'm a military character, you know, I'm pretty dressed for it. I'm like military space opera, but you were saying you were feeling pirate?
A little bit. I was feeling pirate.
I'm wondering, as we talk about betrayal, whether you are former military who like went pirate, or you are like, you were a hired mercenary that I was supposed to work with, but then you took a job for someone else and like turned on my fleet, like just getting ideas for how you could have betrayed me.
What if we both started out as mercenaries for the same force, but we went our different ways, where you allied with your employers and made a name for yourself within the armed forces, and I saw something like some nugget that ticked me the wrong way, that just ticked me off, and I went rogue and decided like, no, I have to do everything to stop them.
Absolutely. I love that. Maybe it was mid-mission too. Like we were both doing a thing. Like I've just taken my like official commission with this like military force, and you're still supposed to be assisting me as a mercenary. And then you like fuck things up for me mid-mission.
I was supposed to like give you your, you know, what are they called? Lapels? When they put and
epaulets.
Epaulets, yes, thank you. And instead of that, like the alarms go off in the station, and it's like, what's happening? And I come on the screen like, this is the end. This is I'm sorry to do this.
That's so fun. Are we playing out the moment that happens, or are we playing out it is later? You have betrayed me a while ago. We have now been like rivals for a while, and we are like finally re-meeting. I like that, I think, a little more. But I'm also happy to play the initial betrayal if you want.
I like that too. I was gonna defer to you, but yeah, I'm thinking let's skip ahead. But we both know like the moment of betrayal that still is a very fresh nugget.
Cool. Awesome. Now, the next thing we do, we can always choose a second history, but I think we've established such a strong history that we can just revisit this if we decide we need more to flesh it out, but we're like good to go for now. Sound good?
Sound very good.
Cool. So now we do descriptors. Descriptors are a pretty fun mechanic that actually Seda, who is both our podcast editor, but also like a game design consultant on this, really helped me develop. Seda, I think, also happens to be in chat right now. Yeah. But like this came out of playtesting with Seda, where we were like looking on ways to flesh out our characters. We actually used a random adjective list, and it turned into this list in the rulebook of opposites. So we have cruel versus empathetic, vengeful versus forgiving. There's this long list of opposites. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose one descriptor that is the same for both of us, one set of opposites that applies to one character and the other. So we can like set our characters up as like foils. How do they differ? And then we each get to choose 2 to 3 additional descriptors for our characters that are just like wherever we want, whatever we think describes them. So we could sort of do same and opposite in any order. Is anything calling out to you, Ruben, from this list?
Yes, just within like the context of betrayal, and especially like within a military context where, you know, you only get to resolve these kinds of things on like in a battlefield.
Yeah.
I find the idea of not mercy necessarily, but forgiveness a very strong one. Like it's almost like I actually don't like want, like there's a reluctance, a reticence to it, and that kind of quality working that into like a very strong feud is like very juicy to me. So I would go for forgiving.
Do you want that to be the same or opposite? Is one of us forgiving and one of us isn't? Or are we both like, we want that opportunity to forgive, but there's just this like larger conflict?
I think both forgiving would be very interesting.
Cool. Absolutely. We're both trying to be like, it's not too late. You can still join me. Like,
and it's also not you. It's not me either, but it's also not you. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely. So what makes us different? How do we, and this might also help explain why we ended up on opposite sides of it. But there's so many options.
Well, I picked the same one, so maybe you could do the opposite.
Things that stand out to me. As if we're both forgiving, I really don't think it makes sense to dichotomize our characters as like one of them's cruel or one of them's like super vulgar. I think we both have this like moral and ethical code, but we just end up feeling like the opposite sides are right. So things that call to me include an open book versus guarded. One of us is like really willing to be open with this, and the other like plays it close to the chest. Reputable versus underestimated. So like I developed this like huge reputation, whereas you like people, that's part of what pulled me in, is the opportunity to like nourish that, and I like thrive off of that. Famous versus infamous, and then or imposing versus coy also sounds fun. I think the 3 that interest me the most are open book versus guarded, reputable versus underestimated, or imposing versus coy. Any of those stand out to you?
I think reputable and underestimated is an interesting dynamic. Yeah.
Perfect. And I'm guessing I'm the reputable one and you're the underestimated.
I think so. And that might also be the sort of like the source of like the tension between the two of us.
Yes, absolutely.
And it also drives home that, you know, it was like reputation is built around you. It isn't necessarily created by you, because we perform the same tasks, you know, as mercenaries. But the way it was received, or the way you perhaps showed off on the field, communicated more of a bravado, more of a sort of like an aesthetic value that clicked more with the brass.
Absolutely. Which is immediately painting a picture for my individual descriptors. So I know that I already want imposing, which is I think part of what built that reputation. And guarded, because I find it really interesting, the idea that like I want to try and hold all of these emotions close to my chest, but in order to try to get through to you, I'm gonna have to let them out. And also when you hit me hard, like when you emotionally wound me, you're going to see those things come out, and you know me, you know how much it means that like I'm actually opening up. Like it means you got me.
Oh, that's good.
Let's see. What else? Is there anything standing out to you?
I think I'm going to go with impulsive.
Yeah,
that makes sense to me. And just sprinkle a little bit of I think passionate on top of that.
Totally.
Just finding more of finding more of a poetry in like the space opera setting, in the battles, in the history, in all of the like all of the toys that you get to use, and finding a lot of like beauty almost in that, whereas like you establish that aesthetic value and I want it.
Totally. Absolutely. And speaking of aesthetic value, for my third descriptor, I think I'm going to go with debonair. So despite the fact that I'm like this guarded, like military person who's like really imposing, I still think I do it all with flair and fashion, right? Like part of how I built this reputation was the fact that I made it look good. Like that's part of how I inspire my subordinates. That's part of how I like rally support behind my cause, is just like this imposing form of being debonair. It's not flamboyance, which is another descriptor. It's just this like doing it in style sort of thing.
Yeah, you carry the expectations of the office, of the position with you, and you,
absolutely.
And I want to, I think that's sort of like not like as an opposite of that, but maybe as an echo. I want to go with infamous. That after that betrayal, like, or because of the betrayal, or what I have been doing afterwards, has also created a reputation for myself, but not a good one.
Yes. And it creates that reputation, but because we said underestimated, I think like you have that reputation, but you're still the underdog, right? Like you are viewed as this very, very annoying fly on the wall who someone needs to stamp out. But actually you're stronger than people give you credit for, because they want to downplay your success.
And I think what would then be a very sweet, but for my character very annoying, is that I cannot be like, my name cannot be othered and not be in the same sentence as you. Like there's always going to be that contrast.
Oh, I love that. Like the ways that puts you in my shadow and adds such like personal drama to this is so fun. Oh, amazing. Thank you.
Oh yeah, this is so juicy. This is juicy steak.
I love these two characters already and their relationship.
I haven't even named them, and they're already just like my sweet little blorbo.
Yes. I'm going to be thinking about this blurbo for a very long time.
I've yet to hear
the next
blurbo
up,
in the context of a tabletop RPGs yet, and I'm glad both of you can take it there.
Yes, absolutely. I have a couple Discord servers where we talk about our blurbos like every day. Next up, we choose exposition. What brings us to this particular battlefield? And we will end up fleshing out that battlefield next, but like what specific event has occurred that is taking us back together? There's a lot of options here. If you have any like initial inspiration, I'd be happy to hear it. And if not, I can dig into some like more ideas.
I think we've established the way we orbit around each other very well. So that to me carries the intimacy and like the personal experiences that define our characters and their relationships. So for me, it makes sense that the reason why we're both here, and it might almost imply some sort of like it's accidental that we would both show up here, is because of like a state-of-the-art piece of equipment has been found.
Absolutely.
Or is up for grabs.
I love that. And so like we're both trying to claim it, and it's like, oh shit, is this really going to be the time that we finally have this like showdown?
Exactly.
And my next question there is like why I'm going personally. So I'm imagining I'm quite high ranking at this point.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a reason why I'm not sending like a team of Marines to do this for me.
I this clicked. Because you realize that there's another attack happening on a different sector or station, but you know it's me, and you know that I would use them as a decoy.
Yes, and not only I know it's you, and that's why I take my ship here, but it's also why I go personally, because exactly. I want this moment, and also I think I don't want to kill you. I will kill you if I have to, but I want you to turn. And so if I send my Marines, they're just going to shoot you. So I have to go because I want you to turn.
You want to fix it. You want to, bring the crew together. Just like, yeah, no, remember the good times we had, during war.
Yes.
And war wouldn't feel the same without you. That's just
what a good line.
I know, right?
Okay, awesome. So we've got our exposition. And our environment. We can decide the like general shape of it if we want at the beginning, or we can hop right into descriptors and have that drive it. So descriptors are like dangerous or secure, surrounded or isolated, ancient or state of the art. And we choose 3 options from the ors on this list. Do you have any that are standing out to you?
I think surrounded, in the sense that your force is like much better equipped, and I think just also larger than mine. Like maybe I went as like a strike team and you're like, no, let's bring the royal guard with us.
Yes.
And so we are all surrounded, and there's just, a hype crew, like a breakdance battle around us almost.
Is it in the room with us, or is it they are fighting outside of this room? Like the hallways are being like contested and stuff like that, but we just happen to enter a room that is just the 2 of us. And we can hear the blaster fire like outside and behind us.
I love that. Like, yeah, we managed to find a little calm in the storm, but we make it a part of that storm.
Yes, perfect. Okay, awesome. Cool. So we're surrounded. I'm feeling either ancient or state of the art, and I can't decide which one. Like I know they're like opposites, but I think they both give a similar like effect. They affect things in a similar way. So if it's ancient, maybe this is some sort of like really old installation or ruins or something that like, oh, we discovered there's some lost tech in that's really important. And I'm imagining, I like space stations, so I'm imagining a rusted space station, but it could also be like some like planet-bound ruins or an asteroid or something that's like a broken down base. Or on the opposite side, state of the art. This could be like a lab from the military that I am in, and you are here to like spring something and I'm here to defend it. Or it could be like a neutral third-party corporation has developed some sort of technology and we're both here to take it. Any of this calling out to you the most?
I think ancient, because cool. I like the idea of, something that is clearly from the future, looks to be from the future, but is implied to be like very old. But there's like sort of like a bayou tapestry on the wall almost, that like also depicts, that mirrors a duel taking place, as if this was like the setting is almost destined to be this way.
I love that. What if this is a derelict ship? This is like a slowly breaking down derelict ship. And it is like rusted through, and there is like art that is becoming patchy on the walls. Like we encounter each other in the officer's cabin of this ship, where they've got like art displaying a duel from their ancient war. This works for you?
This works for me. This works awesome. For me. You can tell by my smile. This works for me.
Oh, that's so fun. This is so fun.
This is
cool. So ancient, surrounded, one more. I feel like we've established that it's kind of chaotic outside, but serene in our eye. We know how dangerous or secure it is. So I think dim or bright, boiling or freezing, cramped or spacious. Do any of those call out to you?
I think bright, because if this is a dilapidated spaceship and it's sort of like hanging in, 0G, and it's just floating through space, sometimes through the cracks, there's just a ray of sunlight that like illuminates everything inside.
Absolutely.
And just casts such large shadows on everything and everyone.
Oh, perfect. And we can use those like beams in dramatic moments. I love that concept.
So that's why I was thinking like, how do we introduce spotlights into this?
Ruben, This is why I'm so glad I'm playing this game with you. You just like understand the like drama of it. Oh, good.
I need this. I need this for myself too, not just for the character, but for me, Ruben.
Absolutely. Cool. So we're about to start background, which is where we establish details more about our individual characters than about our relationship to each other. I'm also going to throw a little opportunity to chat. My space military needs a name. Throw your favorites, like whatever you want, like throw spaghetti at the wall as far as like space military names. You can tag a million like boilerplate words together. You can do something really weird, but I'll pick a name for my space military out of the chat. So like throw ideas at me and we'll figure it out. But in the meantime, we are moving to one of the most important parts of the rulebook, because the next thing that we choose is our capes. So you choose in this section, are you wearing a cape? And if so, what does it look like? Players reserve the right to decide the answer in secret, as their cape choices affects who picks first advantage or first priority. And we'll learn what those are. I'll explain what those are in a second. Alternatively, we could both agree to discuss our capes beforehand if we want. But if a player opts to wear a cape, they must describe it in detail. And part of the reason for that is that we will be evaluating our capes by what I refer to as the cape rubric. It's in order of priority. We basically move down in the case of ties until we hit the last option. 1, whoever opted to wear a cape. So if one of us did and one of us didn't, they get to pick. 2, whoever's cape is closest to floor length without going over. 3, whichever player owns a cape in real life. 4, whichever player last wore a cape. And 5, then and only then, roll 2d6 and the highest goes first.
What an amazing
I am not
way
playing
to determine.
because I have 2 capes.
Oh, Nathan,
One
that's
of which
so
I
good.
sewed myself.
Maybe I should have added a. That's
If
so
we're-
cool.
If we somehow get a tie, maybe you can like symbolically offer someone as a tiebreaker a cape.
Oh.
Yes.
I appear on
Absolutely.
webcam briefly to the both of you and let you select your capes. But for now,
Select
we can go
your
through the
capes.
other criteria first.
So good. So what does this affect? First advantage and first priority. Priority is a system used for breaking ties. When we eventually get to play, it's basically a rock, paper, scissors system of thrust, parry, and feint. Thrust beats feint, feint beats parry, parry beats thrust. And so if you both pick the same option, whoever has priority gets the point for that round, and then priority is exchanged back and forth. If you win the cape off, then you can choose to have priority on the first turn. If you don't, you instead get advantage, the first pick of advantage. We are about to do advantages very soon. And those are basically like, what one-ups does your character have that they can gloat about and show off about and use in this duel? They don't provide a mechanical advantage of any kind, except for one of them. But for the most part, they don't provide a mechanical advantage. Instead, what they provide is a narrative advantage. There are things that you can evoke to like explain why you are better. And so if you have one that you have your eye on, like I want that advantage, then winning the cape rubric, choosing first advantage gives you that. So whoever wins gets to pick one of those two, and the opposite person gets the other first. So with that all said, it is time to choose our capes. Do we want to choose in secret, or do we want to talk it out loud? I'm down to choose in secret, but it's up to you.
I want to choose in secret too.
Cool. Awesome.
Is there a well
Okay.
you're both deciding in secret, so I read through some of the name suggestions we've been getting for this fleet.
Please do.
In reverse order, we have Grave Procession. We have the Planet Positional Long Range and Near Field Expeditionary Team, acronymed Planet. Grave Procession, Newman Consortium, Expeditionary Force 949-B, Binary Star, The Phalanx, Big Blue, and Frozen Nova.
There are so many good options in here.
I know, right?
Oh my God. Okay. I'm feeling split between Expeditionary Force 949B. I love the like hyper professionalism of that, and the Phalanx. I'm a sucker for like mononym names.
I'll say you, Ruben.
Since we're both mercenaries for this kind of thing, I think the Phalanx would be very, very powerful to like maybe that's kind of the reason why we both joined this conflict at the side, like on their side, because it's like, oh, we get to fight for the Phalanx, oh my God, the Phalanx.
So cool.
Yeah.
And then we realize, oh, this is war.
Yeah, exactly. Like the starry-eyedness of it kind of like blinded us for just a horrible protracted conflict that it was.
Just wanted to be part of a greater whole. But yeah, the Phalanx it is. Thank you.
Awesome. So, capes, it's time. I will reveal first. My cape is a floor-length blue, I think, material. I think silk. And I am wearing this uniform. I've decided I'm just directly ripping the SG, but it is the same navy as my uniform, but in silk. Falls like heavy and ruffles. It's not like super straight. It sits like Krennic's cape from Rogue One, if anyone has seen that. So like it attaches to my shoulder pads right here. And so like cuts here, falls back over that to the floor. And it has red trim matching the red trim on my uniform.
Wow. So this speaks money.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Like cushy, like military office job. Like what? You go to a brunch 2 times a week, just inspecting the troops day where you're just like visiting them, and then you have a buffet for the rest of your evening. That kind of shit.
Totally.
What happened to you? You used to be a mercenary. See one of us. And I think with that, I want to introduce my cape, which is less a cape and more like, well, it used to be a cape, but has been now so frayed and like well worn that I wear it as a scarf almost. And what that scarf / cape is used to bear the symbol of our mercenary troop.
Yes.
And which I think is like the symbol is sort of like a cartoony but very memorable animal design, like a dog with a knife in its mouth or something.
Yes.
Like something like very that suggests like rough and tumble. Like were we
the war dogs?
We're the war dogs. There you go. War dog. Yes! War dog 1 and war dog 2.
Oh God, I'm so excited, Ruben.
It's like gotta get into this. But no, I think that is my cape.
Awesome. And then that also means that like probably the symbol isn't showing if it's like wrapped around your neck, which also means you could have a dramatic moment of like showing it to me as a way of like trying to evoke emotion in me.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. So yeah. We have our capes. By the rubric, I take pick. So because mine is closest to floor length without going over, and yours is now a scarf.
I chose that. That's fine.
Yes. I am going to choose first advantage and give you first priority because I feel like my character actually does have the advantage in a lot of ways. Like has like reputation and like backing and money and armaments. But I'm going to give you first priority, partially because I'm more and more viewing you as a bit more the hero here. So I actually I'm totally fine for you to pull ahead. But yeah, I'll give you first priority. I've got first advantage. Which means the next thing we do.
There you go. You have priority.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Oh, I love that. That graphic rules. Okay. So when we go to advantages, these are our options to pick from. We will each pick 2. The high ground, the element of surprise, superior weaponry, reinforcements on the way, to be your opponent's exact type, familiar territory, a more accomplished record, a history of greater accomplishments, superior fashion, extensive training for this particular fight, desperation, and either anonymity or comprehensive intelligence on your opponent. Oh, and finally, there's a special one, opponent in a compromising situation, which your opponent has to allow you to pick, and it changes who has priority and adds some special priority rules, but it sounds like that's not really where we're at. So I doubt that'll come up if one of us is interested in it. But I get to pick the first one. And I'm trying to decide, one of the things I also recommend with advantages is like, try to cover new ground. Like we've sort of already established that I have reinforcements. We've sort of already established that I have more money, at least for my clothing. Mm-hmm. So the question we want here is like, what do I have that is new territory to cover? And I think the answer, it's in the book. It didn't make it into our play doc, but it is in the book. So I'm adding the one that this time I actually is missing, which is to be taller than your opponent, because I love the idea that you are a short king and I do get to tower over you in this scene. As soon as you said that, I was like, this is happening. So I am taking to be taller than your opponent.
Hey, 5'1" and I'm royalty, short king mama A. Okay. I was gunning for that because I saw it in the book and I was like, I want to be tall. But no, fair is fair. I'm short king, you are tall queen.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So now I get to pick one of my advantages, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I think this makes sense. Desperation.
Totally. Maybe like this is also like what can turn the tide, right? Like this technology is enough. This our MacGuffin is like a big deal for even the survival of your mercenary company.
I think so. I think that's why like even though we're spread thin as it is on the losing side, like as you scored more military victories over like the other side, your cape grew longer. Almost, you kept getting a longer cape, and mine grew shorter. And yeah, no, this is just like the final ditch effort. Like either we get this thing or we just surrender.
Absolutely. I am trying to decide. Oh, do we want to? Oh wow, I completely. Oh, are you still working for the same mercenary company? Like, and I think the answer is yes, but I just want to check that like after I split off, you're still with the War Dogs, but the War Dogs are now fighting against the Phalanx.
Yes. I think I took the War Dogs with me when you like took on the Phalanx position.
Oh, heartbreaking. Absolutely. Heartbreaking. Thank you. My second one, to continue to try and like establish some new stuff, I'm going to go with familiar territory. I actually think that I was trying to solve in my head, if this is a decrepit space station that's falling apart, why do we have oxygen? Because I don't want to be wearing helmets. And that actually gave me the inspiration. We don't have to explain that, but it gave me the inspiration. My team has actually, like, or at least the Phalanx's like science team has been here for a while trying to find a safe way to extract this artifact. And we are just on the, like, we just had a breakthrough on how to do it. And you all probably find a way to know that, whether it's like a spy or something. And that's why you're showing up now. But that also means I've been on this ship. I know this ship. I know this office. And so I don't know how that'll come up, but I like that as a like background element, and then maybe it will come up as an advantage.
Absolutely. Oh, that's so cool. And I think like again, as an echo to that, I think extensive training for this particular fight, because tying in with the desperation, you know, it's all or nothing. It's gonna be all in or bust.
So the War Dogs have been like studying me and figuring out like what are my weaknesses and trying to teach it to you, and you've been like training all for beating exactly me.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking like the mercenary troop as a whole. I was thinking like my character has just been like not sleeping 2 weeks straight in like the simulations, trying to just like basically only thinking of combat, only preparing itself, probably loaded up like an old module that has you as an AI, because you're the best opponent I can think of.
I had not considered a simulator, and I love that so much. And like maybe we'll have a flashback, maybe we won't, but that gives us like flashback opportunities to you in the simulator. Oh, that's so fun.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm gonna add that just in parentheses, just like simulation training.
Absolutely. So now we are moving on to details about our clothing. So this can be anything. This can be an actual item of clothing, or this can just be like a color, or it can be like how expensive or not your clothes are. So just establish some details about your clothing. Later, we're going to have inventory, which is like accessories or like items of utilitarian value, trinkets from our pasts. So this is more just like purely aesthetics. And let's see. I'm like cheating this time because I said I'm wearing my exact outfit. So let's see. What is not established by looking at me, the player? I think I have like calf length boots, like calf length black boots that are just a little more decorative than you would expect for combat. Like they're not like a boots a Marine would wear. They are still like tough leather, but like they're a little more like shaped, and they have red trim on them. So I just have these like expensive calf boots.
Yes. I think I have mine because I also dressed for the occasion. I don't know if you can see it, but a hair tie.
Yes, hair tied back.
Hair tied back. And that can only mean one thing. The hair tie might come off.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. What is my other clothing description? What else is interesting?
Maybe I don't know like how far or how like what the level technology is for like body modding, but perhaps like you've just acquired different eye color or whatever, or you're wearing like I don't know, something that like a holographic projection that adds to your silhouette.
I do love the idea of some sort of like eye interface. I'm probably going to come back to that for inventory because of how much I like that idea.
Okay.
But for this, this is really inventory too. No, we'll work them together. I think I do one thing that is non-regulation that I think is actually a carryover from my War Dog days, which is I'm going to say, looking at myself again as for inspiration, rings. That like wearing a whole bunch of rings, like even in combat, though, despite that being stupid, is maybe like a War Dog thing. Like it's like an aesthetic thing that they do. And
one ring for each battle you made it out of.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. Or they're like handed out as like honors or something for especially big moments. Oh, perfect. So I've got like a bunch of rings on my fingers.
Mm-hmm. And so don't have to think long and hard about this. I also have rings on my fingers.
Perfect. Yes, yep. Totally. And I love that we share that. Now we choose our weapons. This is our primary weapon. This is the one that would get used in the battle that follows. So we won't use this weapon until whoever loses. Though it is important to note that when you are 1 point away from victory, your opponent must draw their weapon. And there's no like mechanical effect to that. It is just like to escalate the dramatic tension. If they have not already drawn it, which maybe they have, they're welcome to. But if not, your opponent is forced to get to the point where they draw their weapon. You don't have to.
I love that. Valthak in the chat asked, the real question is who has more rings? And I think just a tiny detail that would just make my heart shatter into pieces is that I stopped adding rings after I betrayed you. You never stopped.
My heart, Ruben.
I know. We have to almost like after this, we're gonna write a sci-fi novel about these two.
Absolutely.
Oh, my
I
God.
love them. I love them. Okay. Yes, perfect. So for weapons, yeah, cool. I've got mine.
Oh, do we not reveal them? We keep
Oh
them
yeah,
secret?
no, they're not secret. I don't know why I was doing that, just to have it. So I think for mine, part of what I want is something a little understated. So like I'm an officer. I'm not a Marine. I'm not even like a security staff. I think I just have like a blaster that is, I'm trying to decide whose blaster to take for inspiration. Like usually for my like diplomats, I go with Padme Amidala's blaster from episode 1 because I love that. It's one of my favorite blasters. But I think in this case, I'm going to go with Ronan, something similar to Ronan Dex's blaster from Stargate Atlantis, which is probably going to catch like 2 people, period. But that is another of my favorite blasters, and it's a little chunkier. It's a little closer to your like BSG big pistol. So yeah, I have an officer's blaster that's like Ronan Dex's, but a little more like cool metals and like sleek design rather than the sort of rough and tumble one.
Interesting. So I also love how that just decide like that tells you like you fight at a range, and whether or not that has always been true, like that sort of begs the question. But yeah, you are very, very guarded, and that reflects your guarded nature, which that choice says so much. I love it.
Yes.
Now my turn. I want to say it's got to be something cheap and mass produced.
Yeah, totally.
It's not, it's all for the practice. Like I run a mercenary troop. I think about finances, budgets are bad. It's like the fucking housing market out there. How am I going to find a space, like capsule apartment, let alone a functioning laser blaster? So I'm using one of those old world kinetic guns. It's just, you have to hand load them. It's, if you've played Disco Elysium, it's like you have to like drop in cartridges through the barrel.
Yes.
And
Perfect.
they are one, or I think like a 2-shot pistol that you have to hand load paper cartridges into and sort of like stomp. That's how low budget we're talking.
Oh, I love this. Okay. Cool. So we've got our weapons. Next up, inventory. Items you're carrying on your person, they might be of utilitarian value, like a boot knife or an armored pauldron, as long as it's not your main weapon. Mm-hmm. Trinkets from your past or trinkets from your opponent's past, if they agree to that. So I already think all of my rings have been changed out, except for one. Oh, no. And I think it is the ring from surviving our first official mission with the War Dogs together.
No.
And specifically, because it was our first, like we didn't get the expensive, like the more decorative shit yet. It is just a silver band. And the inscription is on the inside. I'm going to leave what the inscription is up for later. So you can't even tell from the outside if it's not just a regular silver band. I would have to show you to be sure that it's that one.
Oh no. My heart. Are we sure we didn't pick like ex-lovers for the background? Because damn, this is getting so romantic.
Yeah, honestly, if like my character is definitely a lesbian, and in another scenario with like other sorts of relationships there, I might have done a romance thing. And I think in this case, what I would really like the idea of is like we were childhood, like almost siblings, like if we were not actual siblings, we were. Yes.
Oh my god. Just the build up is already making me teary-eyed. Jesus.
Right.
Okay.
What if, I mean, we were mercenaries, right? I may be going too far in here, like getting off track, but I'm excited about it. Mm-hmm. What if, like to become a mercenary, usually something like pretty bad has happened in your life. Were we like at an orphanage together, something like that, or we were like street rat kids together, and like surviving together. And eventually we took those skills that like led us all the way to becoming mercenaries. But like we spent our childhoods like protecting and having each other's backs.
Oh my God. Yes. I think it happened like we street rats. Went from like 6 to 10. I was the bigger kid, so I could defend you better. From 10 to 14, you got like you got your growth spurt and you became taller than me. So you were there for me. And then like because I was fuming at the height difference, I started like getting into martial arts more, getting to like maybe like picking up like more martial arts. And like in young adulthood, like we sort of like became like perfect like complementary matches, like like not even self-defense anymore, but we could take the fight together to other people. But only when we're together.
Yes. This is so heartbreaking. Oh, thank you. Okay. So I have my ring from our first mission. Do you have an idea for an item?
I think yes. Instead of a pair of what are they called? Knuckle dusters, knuckle brace. What do you call those?
Yeah, I think knuckle dusters, also brass knuckles. Like
brass knuckle. Not a pair, but just one. And I don't know where the other one is, but I think I might have shared one with you when we first joined the War Dogs.
Totally. Absolutely. Like we'd been like, that was like on the street, like you were infamous for your knuckle dusters. And then you were like, we're going to do this together. I want you to stay safe. Here's one of mine. Oh God. Absolutely. I'm trying to decide between something different and having the other knuckle duster in my jacket, but I don't want to undermine that being a unique thing for you. So I don't know how that feels for you.
I think just leave that to yourself because it's 2 or more. And I think just like if you want a secret, if you want to keep that like just hidden and just hit me where
we'll see
it
if the
hurts
moment.
later on.
Yeah, totally. We'll see if there's like a moment where I was like, this is the reveal I want. What else? I mean, I think what I want to establish is the epaulettes, right? Like we said that you were actually supposed to like present them to me. Maybe they like had you do it because like, even though you weren't a part of the phalanx, like they were like, we know the War Dogs were important to you. We want to make that a part of you joining, like taking this commission. We will have them present it to you. And you never did. And I had to like get them from someone in the phalanx instead. But like, because of that, they have become such an important thing to me. And they're also such an important thing about our relationship that I want to establish that I have very fancy epaulettes on my shoulders.
Oh my God. I can already just like imagine like the cinematic moment of, you know, you're waiting at the ceremony, the lights of the alarm, like the red lights, like alert, like we're under attack. And then just like in the back room somewhere, just like an open box with epaulettes and no one picking them up and like reflecting the right lights off of them.
I'm just seeing like the camera shot that is like from a like low angle, like on the desk, and we see the like box and them sitting in the velvet. The background is blurred, and so we just see the yes, perfect. Okay, cool.
Okay. I think in my inventory is an unopened envelope. And I'm not sure if I want to establish what it contains. Maybe it contains a letter, but I don't want to. Basically, I want to use this like for the both of us. Basically, like we both get to decide when that moment arrives, what is in this letter, what it says, who's it addressed to.
Absolutely. I think that's great. Leaving little mysteries like that is so powerful.
There's one unopened envelope and just you know, open here for a heartbreak.
Open for heartbreak. Absolutely. Also, I want to really quick thank, there's someone in chat who just bought a set of I Have the High Ground. Thank you for doing that. I'll also note that for the same price as what this person bought, which was the premium set for $30, there is also a special tier that gives the premium set and a handwritten dedication from me, and an early access copy of the PDF for the same exact price. You just need a password. That password is "It's over, Anakin." And so for the person who just bought it, who I won't like out you, if you want to upgrade to that for the same exact price, you're welcome to, and you'll get a dedication and early access PDF if you want it. It's just labeled discount bundle for Obi-Wan Kenobi because was available to everyone yesterday, but only you all today. Awesome. So let's think. Next up is circumstances. Circumstances are like, what is the exact thing that happens to begin the encounter? So we've talked about why we're here, but like, do we open a door and see each other? Does someone drop in through a like ladder or whatever? So the book offers, if you are playing this game for the first time, especially, a number of like preset circumstances: the challenge, the trap, the chance encounter, and then like limited versions of the mechanics that help you figure out what your first move can be, because that's really challenging. And we could use those if we want, but as I say in the book, you're welcome to, and in fact encourage, if you have an idea for like what you want the opening to be and what your initial approach would be, you can totally just like skip that mechanic. That's to help you out if you need it. For that reason, one of the things that I'm going to do is introduce more of the mechanics of play before we decide the circumstances. That sound good to you, Ruben?
Okay, yeah. I do have a great idea of what the circumstances are going to be, but yeah, let's reveal those after.
Awesome, sounds good. So, as I said before, we are looking at a rock, paper, scissors triangle, and Nathan, as an absolutely wonderful producer, has put that in the center of the screen. If you're looking at the screen, it's that little triangle of thrust beats feint, feint beats parry, parry beats thrust. And so play is going to proceed in a series of rounds. Each round, we will choose simultaneously and in secret which of those moves that we want to pick. I am going to be using these handy little tokens. So you can see, if I can get the camera to focus, on one side, the tokens have a logo for I have the high ground. And on the other, those symbols you see in the middle of the screen appear laser engraved on these tokens. Oh, we're almost in focus. Well, and the symbols help. Point being, there is one for each move and one to represent priority that you can pass back and forth. Because we're playing digitally, we can't pass the priority token back and forth. And also, these are the only ones in existence so far. So sadly, Ruben does not have them, and instead has lovely signs that Ruben is going to hold up. If you want to demonstrate, there we go. Love that. But if you all want tokens like these, they are only going to be printed once ever. If you don't back the crowdfunder, there is no chance to get these tokens. But if you go get the premium set that I was mentioning, including the discounted bundle, you can get these tokens. And so basically what I do is choose a token, put it in my fist, and then when we're going to do a 3, 2, 1 count, and Ruben will hold up a sign and I'll hold up a token to the camera. And that's how we will reveal our moves.
I should have made a sign that says, "Please clap."
Absolutely. I love the idea of you doing like,
yes.
like audience direction stuff.
That's my job, Ruben. Stop taking that from me.
Absolutely.
I'm slowly taking over the Neon Caster agency. It's my end goal.
So each turn we choose it, and basically the winning move just determines inspiration for narration. So it determines who gets a point, but it's also, if you choose thrust, what you're saying is, I'm going to attempt like an aggressive move, a biting insult, or like stepping in to tower over someone. Whereas if you choose feint, you're giving bait to try and provoke the other person, bringing up something you know is sensitive to get them to overreact, or like making a little stutter step to make them get to more concerned than they need to be, embarrass them. Parry is they give like a weak thrust and you counter. So you might like have a good comeback to a weak insult, or like they might step into you and you literally do nothing. Like that alone can be a parry, as like you're not intimidated.
And we like after we reveal our moves, that's when we come up with like the descriptions with the actions involved.
Exactly. And so you can go in with an inspiration, but usually what I recommend is don't play for like winning, like trying to guess the other person's move and win, and don't go in with like this is exactly what's going to happen. Instead, what approach would your character take in this moment? Would they do something aggressive? Would they try and give bait? Would they be on the defensive? And that's how you pick your move. And then the winning move determines the structure of the turn, or like the inspiration. And then the winner always has the right to the last word if they want to have the last word for the turn. And the rulebook has a bunch of other recommendations for like how to realize your moves, but we won't have to go through all of those. Finally, we talked about priority. That's exchanged back and forth. Nathan has, in a wonderful way, represented that graphically. And if we both choose the same move, priority will determine the victor, and there's specific description in the rulebook for what to do in that case. Also, because Ruben, this is your first game, we're going to use some of the first game rules that I have in there, which includes the first time a particular win type happens. So the first time someone wins by fainting, or the first time someone wins by a tie, but they have priority for parry. You go to the rulebook and read aloud the description of that move and one or two of the examples. That way you can learn as you're playing what these wins mean, and you don't have to spend the whole time reading the rulebook beforehand.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome. The only things we haven't covered, I talked about how at 8 points, because you were playing to 9, competitive fencing plays to 9 points. So do we. Priority, by the way, is also from competitive fencing. It's much more complex than competitive fencing. It's like the judges just basically make a judgment call as like who had more momentum. But here it's just back and forth, and it breaks ties if both people hit each other at the same time in competitive fencing. So it breaks ties here. And then the resolution, once we get to 9 points, then in that answer, and we'll read a bit more about this when we get there, the losing player must strike a blow with their weapon. And that's what begins the battle but ends this game. And the final and last mechanic is the penalty move. So we have our main 3 standard moves, thrust, parry, and feint, but once per game, you can execute a penalty move. That is the only time, besides a deep on the Cape rubric, that you roll dice. And essentially what a penalty move is something really, really insulting. The examples given, the most common ones, are turning your back on your opponent with the intent to leave, like basically this duel isn't worth my time or whatever, which turning your back on your opponent is a penalty in competitive fencing, or disarming yourself and just being like, I don't even need this, or like I don't want to have this fight. Either way, very insulting to a threatening opponent, also a penalty in competitive fencing. If you do a penalty move, then you roll 2d6. If you roll under your current score, you win. You get 2 points for winning a penalty move. If you roll over your current score, you lose. Your opponent gets a point and they get priority immediately, even if they already had it that turn. And finally, if you tie, well, actually I'll say, if you win, what this represents is your penalty provokes such a massive response from your opponent that like completely embarrass themselves, like very dramatically. But you still have to turn around or rearm. It's always going to end with you turning around or rearming. It's just a question of what emotional like tone does the moment strike. So in that case, their overreaction causes you to rearm or turn around, but they embarrass themselves. If you roll and you win, that's if you win. If they win, they provoke you into rearming or turning around. They do something that gets you so incensed or upset or scared that you rearm or turn around. If you roll exactly your current score, your opponent strikes an actual physical blow against you. Like they use their weapon for whatever follows your duel. It's the only exception to the rule of there's no fight, and you always go back to a like duel of posture after that. But if you roll exactly your current score, your opponent scores a point, and your punishment is they get to actually hit you or score some other combat relevant advantage. So for example, they might cut something that you're hanging from and now you're dangling above a pit of lava. Like in some way, they get to actually advance combat only that once. Now, what's fun about the penalty move as a mechanic is that because we're using 2d6 as the dice roll, at the beginning of the game, it's like never advantageous for you to penalty move because you are most likely going to roll above it. It only becomes advantageous on the once you hit 8 points, once you are about to win. And so it creates really dramatic moments for the climax if people opt to do it. And also, the most likely roll on 2d6 is a 7. So like at the moment when the probability is just changing, that's also when you are most likely to roll exactly your current score. So the numbers work out in a way that I'm kind of proud of. That's all mechanically. And sorry, dry mouth. We will realize that in play very shortly and give some examples. But in the meantime, you said that you had an idea for the circumstances of our duel. Do you want to let me know what that is?
Oh yeah, I thought that it would be perfect if, my character, I just did this quick strike, infiltrated. Things are my men are on Overwatch. I break into the office, and then to my complete surprise, shock, and also disdain, you're sitting in the chair, and maybe you're turn around on it on the rotating chair.
Yes, absolutely. And I begin the duel just in a purely seated position, totally, because we've talked about it. I'm guarded and imposing. So I'm just right there. Ooh, I do like the idea of having a cat. However, I think I wouldn't take my cat to this dangerous derelict spaceship.
Space cat.
So we can space cat. We can imagine that in there. Cool.
Oh yeah, that's how we get the hologram technology, and you have a streaming device that always shows you a hologram of what your cat is currently doing.
Absolutely.
So you can just shine it.
Or I just have a hologram cat. My pet is actually an AI that is a hologram cat.
It is holographic. Okay, even better. You don't have to feed it.
Yes, exactly. Oh, also speaking of that, it is 2 or more items on your person. And I'm reminded that you talked about body mods or cybernetics. And actually what I'm going to do instead is I have a contact that gives me a HUD. So there is little lights you can see blinking in my eye if I'm using my HUD. And I just think that maybe that could be a fun thing that comes up. Very expensive piece of technology that I have.
Awesome. Should we introduce ourselves?
Yes, you go ahead.
So I will be playing out this half of a very complicated dynamic as Parole Lovedeed.
I love the idea that I probably referred to you by your last name, but in a way that I never did before, and it will be a moment if I refer to you by first name.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
And then I am Admiral Arax Astra. And I do demand people call me Admiral Astra, regardless of whether you respect that.
I used to call you Double A.
Oh, you're giving we have set up so many ways to break each other's hearts in this. Oh, and now it's time to knock the dominoes over. Okay. We are at the point where we choose our first moves. Are you feeling ready?
I'm feeling very ready. Complete and utter silence from the crowd, please. We are now engaging combat mechanics.
Okay, and priority on the first turn is Ruben. So if it's a tie, you will win. And now we'll give a silence. The person with priority does the countdown. When my fist goes up, then my move is ready. So you can count down whenever.
3, 2, 1.
Double parry to start.
Oh my god!
I don't think in all of my playtesting I've ever seen double parry, but as the first move. But because you have priority, win goes to you.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to parry tie. A parry tie indicates that the character without priority, that be me, believes they've finally spotted an opportunity for a counter. But the player with priority, that would be Ruben, wins by patiently outlasting them and parrying that blow to strike their own counterattack. So like we might be like having some initial chatter and I'm like, I've got my comeback. And then you are so prepared to respond to me. Like you make that seem like it was nothing. Alternatively, the actions of the character without priority might be misinterpreted as a thrust. So for example, one character displays genuine emotion or defensively postures in a way that's misread as aggression. And the victor still uses that to make a comeback. So like one person like emotionally outpours and then the other person makes a comeback that like turns that around on them. So examples of a parry tie. The loser tries to takes a cautious step back, trying to draw the victor into a trap, but the victor just laughs and tilts her head, bellowing, "Do you think I'm going to follow you around like a dog? You can fight me on even ground if you're not a coward." So that is a parry tie. Oh, you already got some ideas?
I have a scenario, but
Yeah,
it also describes what you're doing. So what Arax Astra does. And I don't think there was like any like preamble before the duel starts. I think the moment I walk into the room, see you there, that's when the duel starts. And I think your parry is just like surprised to see me or something, or it's been a while.
Yeah, let me think of what it is. And I want to note really quickly mechanically, one of the things I say in the tips is that you're welcome to offer each other ideas, especially if you're the victor, being like, hey, this would set me up for the moment that I want. And the loser should really try and enable the victor to have that satisfying moment. But they never have to take it. They can always be like, can you give me some other ideas? Or actually, I have this. The winner gets the last word, but it's a great thing to suggest for each other as long as you're not deciding for each other. And I love that. I think like you come through and I think it's actually because I think I'm like so clever saying this. If you feel like you have a counter to this, it feels similar. And I think it's like wrists onto the desk and I go, huh, took you, I see you finally showed up. Took you long enough.
Oh my God. I think my response to that, and I think that is what like hands me like the little victory in this, is I just nonchalantly walk towards like I think like a bookcase or something and grab a book out of it and start going through the pages, see if there's any information about like the thing I'm looking for here. And like after 2 seconds of like the longest, deadliest silence, I just go, hold on. Oh, it's difficult to come up with letters on the
always
spot.
take your time if you need time to come up. There are so many times, and I have the high ground where I'm like, hey, give me some cover on a podcast while I figure out my words. Also, if you just want to describe, if in the end you're like, I can't get the words right, but I know what it is about and assume it is really clever, that is totally fine too. But take your time for language.
I think what I say is, you won't be able to stand up with your cape that long.
Insulting my cape or threatening my cape out of the gate. I love it.
Just like, oh yeah, nice cape, I guess.
Yeah, just like immediately being like, this isn't even worth my time. You're just this like rich kid now. And I think to that, because I want to give you like a response to that. I want to like make it feel like you've especially won here. And like, I think immediately, like, I'm defensive about it in body language. I like go to brush something off my cape as if there's something wrong with it. Like clearly the only reason you're insulting it is because I've got schmutz on it or whatever. And I'm like that, but I've totally lost the momentum. I'm just like, and you see this like screwed up look on my face.
I just had it dry cleaned.
Exactly. I'm very personally insulted about the cape instead of, engaging with what is happening here.
Exactly.
I've dropped the token. 1 second. Oh, there it is.
In the meantime, are you okay with the forest green being your theme color, Parole, considering it's your outfit as opposed to the midnight blue that Arax is in?
Oh, for me, sure.
Just I realized that I didn't have folks' scores on screen, so I figure that is a good thing to add. So you now have a
Producer.
1 next to your beautiful face.
Producer out here, just always hitting, never missing. Please miss once.
I think the lack of music is doing that enough for both of us today.
Hey. We are musical in the narrative that we're composing here.
This is absolutely gripping even without the tunes. It's great. Anyway, back to me
Thank
shutting
you.
up.
Cool. So I think that's good for that round, and then we can choose our next moves.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
And priority swaps to me.
You balls in your court.
Yes. I've got my move. Let me know when you have yours.
I am ready.
3, 2, 1, mark. Feint, and I thrust, which means I win this round.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so thrust win. The victor made an offensive move, which hit the loser exactly where it hurts. Thrust beats feint, but loses to parry. In a thrust win, the victor's narration should describe a physical action and or dialogue that's imposing, biting, or carefully pierces a tender spot, while the loser should demonstrate their hurt. So the victor might take a firm step inward and the loser might flinch. Alternatively, the victor might have a cunning insult, which causes the other one to become visibly upset. So I think after that, like, insult to my cape and like you also pretending that I'm like not a threat, or at least maybe you believe it, but like acting like I'm not a threat, I am like raring to go. And of course, like my guarded nature means like I don't want to show that. But like there's clearly some like intensity behind my eyes. And what is my thrust? You insult my cape and treat me like I'm not even let's see. You said that I'm like not going to keep that cape pristine for long, or what was it exactly? Do you remember?
That you wouldn't be able to stand up like with your cape that long, because like you have to first scoot it out from underneath your butt, or else you're just gonna stand up with it.
I misinterpreted that. I love that even more. Oh my god, the idea that like my fashion accessory is in the way of me actually being like capable in combat.
Yeah, exactly, because that's like where my mind was going. Like, why are you dressed to the nines? This is a battlefield.
Cool. I still think my response was the same of like being like, how does this person not understand why the cape is important?
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm gonna turn my camera for a second. The response in the next turn.
She's
is to stand up, and in that exact moment, we've talked about how like the ship is being worked on and life support is being restored and there's cracks in the walls. I stand up and a breeze from life support comes through a crack and my cape flutters out behind me, like over the chair and like up in the air. And I think I'm just like, you have no idea what I can and can't do, Love Deed.
I think that's amazing. It's very in character, and I think what gets Love Deed going, I think what gets Parole going, is not your boast. It's the fact that you stood up and you're taller after all this time. After all this, and that's why I put my character down. Like POV, I'm a little bug and you're about to stomp me.
Totally. The bookshelf was like right in front, and so I stand and like now I am looking down at you.
And I am just like incensed. Like I shut the book. I don't put it back. I like throw it behind me, and it like passes the camera. And I think for a joke, like the cover of the book read like confidence for short people.
Different tone, but I love it. Absolutely.
Just a throwaway gag. And I like put a boot. I like step forward, and literally I'm trying to just say something insulting, but it's like, you've always been so aggravating.
And I think that's when I turn up my lips in just the slightest smile. Like it's just a, yeah. Cool. That feels like round for me. I'm happy with that.
Oh yeah, definitely. So now we've got like everyone's, oh, not eye level, but everyone's just
Almost eye level.
Almost eye level. Oh god, it's so good. Yeah, and I feel like in between. Oh no, I should stop narrating before we do our next move. We can do all that. So, getting so flustered and excited.
Yeah, right. Oh, just wait until we get to the like last few points. I have my move already, but you take your time. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah. So let me check. Oh yeah, I already have priority. Nathan, you don't even need just a nudge. You got this. Wow. Thank you, God. Okay. I have my move. I will count down. 3, 2, 1.
Feint and thrust.
Thrust.
That's your win.
There we go.
Okay.
Oh my
Go
god.
Parole.
So you stood up, you just like shining beacon of admiralty, literally imposing. You represent the military order, the just like sort of like every ideology that it stands for, like why you're fighting this war anyway. And like I regain my composure, and I think I just like my thrust is you stand so tall, but you don't even see the little things going on. You don't even remember why you're fighting this war. You don't even know what you're doing here. You just want to win. That's all you care about. And from where I'm standing, you look so small.
And I think we like see the twitch of her eye. Like I think no one else, it wouldn't hit from anyone else but you.
Mm-hmm.
Like she is confident enough in what she does, but you doubting her like this, we see her try to use that usual like guardedness to not respond.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, here's what it is. Her eyes flick to your rings. And then she looks back at you.
Yes.
And blinks once. And you can see her breathe in when she does. And if that's satisfying for you, I think that's it. Like she has no comeback. It's just this moment of looking at your rings and being like,
mm-hmm. I think Parole cast like as just a little like sort of like a drop, a sliding glance towards like her finger, and sees the silver band, and you see like an eyebrow raise, and quickly refocuses like his gaze at her, just like eye contact. This is sort of like if this were a video game, you would hear like a lock-on sound effect.
yes, absolutely. Now we have gone from like the initial banter to like we are locked in.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Ooh. I think let's I don't know if like scene direction or tone direction is part of like the way you intend to like have this game be played, but for me, what I would love if we like addressed like the betrayal and the allegiance in the next coming scenes.
I would love that. Absolutely. That should definitely come up as a theme. And we'll figure out how that's realized through the moves.
Hell yeah. Okay. I have my choice ready.
Cool. I have priority. I don't have mine ready. So you just won with a thrust. You just insulted me, said I'm small, provoked me because it's coming from you.
I love the idea that I love the idea that Arax also like Parole cares a lot about her height. Arax also cares a lot about her height. And she's very, very proud of that.
Okay. Got mine. And my priority? Yes. So I count down. 3, 2, 1, mark. Double parry again.
Oh my god. We're mind melded.
Yes, absolutely. But this time, double parry goes to me because I have priority. Tying us up again. So, we talked about trying to make sure that this hits on betrayal and allegiance. And I think what I want to try and do is either you appeal to my emotionality and I put that down,
Mhm.
or I start by like appealing to your like to our past and you try and deflect that. And then I sort of reveal it was a ruse all along. Like it's not actually, I pretend it was not actually that important to me.
Oh my God. I think that the second thing makes most sense because like you said, you kind of like showed up knowing I was coming and you're here personally because you think I can still be saved.
Yes, absolutely. Though in that case, I think in that case it doesn't make sense for me to like
Pretend it doesn't matter. Yeah.
yeah, but that doesn't mean that this general structure doesn't work. I think it's more along the lines, oh, actually I start by pretending it doesn't matter in order to get you feeling vulnerable and then I reveal that it does.
Oh my God.
Perfect. So like I get you to be in a position where you're like, does this not matter to you anymore? And then I can like come in and really cut. And so I think the response is so like we had that moment of you're from where I'm standing, you're very small, and I'm just silent for a while. And finally, I think I'm just like, the mission is bigger than either of us, Love Deed, and you know that.
Yeah, no, immediately I think my response to that would just be double A. How could you say that double A? And like I just catch myself like, what do you mean you don't care? Like, what do you mean this is bigger than us? Like, what do you mean? Like, just look around you. There's nothing going on, but this right now, and you say that all of this never mattered. You're saying it's all for the mission. That's how much you've changed.
Okay, give me a second because I have a tack here and I have to figure out how to realize it. Ooh, what's it going to be? Because you say it's all for the mission. Is that how much you've changed? Oh.
Part of like just something I'm noticing, like part of the like fun of this game is that just anticipating what the reply is going to be, even in moments of hold on, there's something here, let me think about how to phrase this. It's like I'm just like, oh, how is it gonna hurt, how's this gonna hurt?
And I think it's that she leans forward on the desk and goes, oh, Parole, it's such a pity. You never seem to understand. It, oh, I never wanted it to be this way. It's not that you abandoned, it's not that I abandoned you for the mission. It's that you abandoned the mission and me.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, cha. Whew. Oh. Okay, yeah, no,
I can call that round there.
yeah, that's round.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Glad I took my time on that one.
no, and I'm glad you did. Oh, holy. Whew.
Okay. So score is 2-2 and priority goes to you. Let's see if you can turn that around.
Yeah. I think it's the only way. I've locked in my choice.
Cool. Your count.
3, 2, 1.
Feint. And you thrust. Oh,
And I
we're going
thrust.
back and
Yes,
forth every
yes.
time.
That's
Oh my God.
perfect. Oh my God. Okay, so because we already did, like, we read out the thrust win and the example. So do we go over that, or?
Nope. We can just move on ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So I think what we're both orbiting around is that we're actually not sure why either of us, like, why you joined the Phalanx and why I betrayed you.
Yes.
But it means, like, that is the most important thing that is keeping us from like allying with each other again, like, at least personally. So I think that a strike against that almost like self-aggrandized belief that the Admiral has would allows her to stand so tall, but also, like, it would, like, it's very fragile, almost like any ideological sort of like self, like autodidactic lesson, and then you show up in a war and you tell me, like, do your values hold up, kind of thing. And I think that's my angle. And you say, like, I abandoned you. How about you tell that to the people you've orbital struck all those planets? For what? For what war? For the name, the glory, for the rank, for your epaulets? What did you do it all for? Is it because you believed in that? Is it because you've set foot on the planets you've destroyed? Because I have. Double A. Have you? Have you looked yourself in the eyes? Have you looked your victims in the eyes as life faded from them like little stars, the stars that you're taking away from them? I'm fighting for those stars. I'm fighting for the last lights in this goddamn galaxy. What are you doing? What are you doing?
And I think there's like a moment of silence where you see all of this like bottled up emotion gathered in her. By the way, that fucking monologue was incredible. Oh, Nathan, am I allowed to curse on this stream?
Absolutely. You good.
Cool. Okay. Anyway, that was incredible. And I think we see this bottled up emotion in her. And finally, she like stabs, is it the desk with her finger or your chest with her finger? I think it's the desk for now. I think she like stabs her finger into the desk and you hear that. And she goes, that was necessary. There was no other way.
Which is always, that's not a real defense.
Not at all. Like, and like her anger is sign that like she actually doubts this. Like if she really truly believed this all the way, she could be calm about this. But you have hit a tender spot and she like yells back. You're also welcome to say something back if you want, or we can call it there.
Because
I was thinking like a was it? Or like, are you really sure? But yeah, no, you're welcome to go there if you want.
Yeah, I like the idea of just sort of like a slight tilt upward and just an eyebrow. I think that's something that happened a lot during, like, in the War Dog days.
Yes.
Is briefing time. I think like Double A was just talking about, I think this method of approach or this tactic would work, and then Parole will just stand in the back and just look at her like with an eyebrow raised, like, is it the best way? And I think I give that.
It's just that, and I look at it and you see that like anger falter in a way that reveals even more that inside she is doubting herself.
I'm sorry for doing this to that character even. Oh, this is so juicy. I love this. Oh my God. Do we call it round?
Yep, round. Okay. So you're up 3-2 and I have priority.
Okay. Let's choose our things. Choose our moves.
Cool.
I'm ready.
I've got mine. I have priority. Yep. 3, 2, 1. Mark.
Parry.
I thrust. You parry. That's 2 in a row for you.
Oh damn! Our first. Okay, parry win.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay, down to parry win.
thrust
Oh,
into
Nathan?
parry. Thrust beats parry, right?
No, parry beats thrust. Thrust beats feint. So
right. No,
in a
no,
thrust
no, we
versus
got it,
feint,
we got
you
it.
like stab right through their feint. Yeah, cool.
Excellent.
Parry win. The loser offered an aggressive thrust, which the victor struck aside to make a powerful counterattack. In a parry win, the loser must offer the winning player a pitiful insult that their character lobs fruitlessly at the victor, setting up a comeback, or an imposing physical move, which the victor can effectively counter. The victor may offer suggestions for the loser's move, or ask the loser to make a different thrust than their current idea. After the loser's thrust, the victor responds with their counter. A counter can be as simple as declining to react. What counts as a victory is for players to decide together based on narrative satisfaction. So, for example, maybe the loser ridicules the victor's meager physique, allowing the victor to counter with the fact that they even still bested the loser in the last 2 tournaments. Can't even take a wimp to the mat then? So, just an example. So I thrust and you parry, and I'm feeling very defensive. And I think my thrust is, you're nothing but a mercenary. What would you know about the true consequences of war? You fight for the dollar.
Okay, yeah, I think it's an easy one. I think my parry here is I say we both fight for the dollar, except I take it from the people who need my help. You just tax it or steal it from people's broken homes.
Ruben! Oh my God. Thank you for this Marxist critique of the military-industrial complex.
Just add a little bit of that.
We both fight for the dollar. Yeah. Fuck. Okay, cool. Well-deserved victory.
How does that land at Arax?
No. Good question. Or you take it from people's broken homes. And I think her hand moves back across the desk, and like you see her basically like steadying herself against the edge of the desk, and her knuckles are whitening against the desk. She's like clearly gripping it hard. And she's just like, I think like sort of like weakly is just like, you're such a child. But like it's like just like sort of muttered in a way that has no like malice or like no like strength behind it.
Yeah, the only thing that like gives that gravitas is like her authority and her position within the military, but there's no respect for that in this room.
Absolutely.
Even like from Parole, but even like from within herself, it's like absent, because the only thing that speaks here is like their shared history, I think. Oh no. Oh my God. Another round?
Yes, another round.
Very good. Okay.
And priority is you.
I'm ready. 3, 2, 1.
Thrust.
Parry
again.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Wow, just Parole absolutely reading Arax to shit right now.
Just prepared.
Yeah, totally.
Just downloaded. It's like I know your AI cat's routine. I know how to groom it. I know everything about you.
I was about to say, just like the simulations.
Just like this. Oh, let's bring that up. Yeah, there's like a flashback to like not just like battle simulations, but also like conversational, like social simulations. Like if
Oh, that gave me a really good idea. If I can suggest.
Yeah.
It's like the camera suddenly sees a different scene and Arax saying something with you across, and then cuts back to our current scene, and I say the exact same thing.
Oh my god! And it was shut down then, as it was, as it will be now. Oh my!
You've already heard it. You're already prepared. And I think so. The last thing you've told me is like, about like stamping out homes. We both fight for the dollar, and I think I'm just like, it has to be something that she tells herself often, right? And that's why the AI knows that it is something that she would say, because this is something that she like repeats to herself as a way of telling herself that what she's doing is right. And I think she goes, "You've seen the horrors of war, Parole. All I'm trying to do is end it." And we see, so actually what we see is like one background.
Yeah.
And it's, we've seen the horrors of war, Parole. All I'm trying to do is end it. Cut. And then we see again. Oh, no, better. I'm sorry that I keep revising this shot.
Let's go.
We see the flashback and we get the first half of the line. And it's, you've seen the horrors of war, Parole. Cut. All I'm trying to do is end it.
What if in the simulation it was a different thing?
Totally.
And that's how much like she doesn't realize she's changed. Like she's like told herself something different all this time, and like as her missions went on, she started saying something different. Maybe it was something like, you've seen the horrors of war. It's something like you've seen the horrors of war. It's people like us who stop it from spreading.
Yes. Or even I think it's like we take it on so others don't have to. So it's very like relational. But now she has tried to convince herself that actually like it needs to happen. Like the whole thing needs to happen.
Like instead of war is something that happens and people have to react to it. Like, no, I am bringing the war as a means to an end.
Yes,
it's like a whole nother paradigm. And I think like for Parole, this like I recognize the first half of the sentence, and then like both my eyebrows just raise, and I think I lean, or like I fold my arms and like cock my head a little bit, because I'm like, this is so not you. And I think what I do is I clack my tongue, and I go, I just say, I thought I was talking to an admiral, not a propaganda machine.
Yikes! Oh my god, yeah. Oh. And I think go ahead.
Just then, now I'm acknowledging your military rank, but only in how much you not paint a picture of a mighty major general.
And I think I'd already talked about her like white knuckling the desk. And I think it's like she'd been trying to hide that. Like it's only if you were looking. Both of her hands clench like instantly, visibly, like and she like her muscles lock tight in her arms, and she's staring at you with like barely contained fury.
I think to add a little zest to that, like she's like holding herself back, but in the background you hear our forces start to clash. Like the first gunshots start going off. Totally. So it's like for us, trained military personnel that show like it's escalating. There's like we have to time is ticking essentially.
Yes. Wilhelm scream in the background.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Next move, my priority.
Absolutely. I'm ready.
I'm ready too. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Penalty.
Thrust. Okay, penalty. Here we go. I was wondering if that's what was coming. Oh, yes.
So I'm gonna roll those 2d6, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. Do we have a way to visualize that on screen, Nathan, or do we just
I was
just roll and
kind
tell
of
you?
banking that people wouldn't do any dice routes this time round. But if you have the
That's
dice
okay.
handy, then feel free to roll some real dice. I have some real dice handy, and I can roll on your behalf. Depends on how you want to do it.
Okay. No, I'm just gonna roll and tell you the results.
Also, if you get the premium set of I Have the High Ground, it comes with custom dice with crossed swords for the 6s that match the cover of the zine.
Hell yes. Okay, so completely missed the mark. I rolled a 10. So very over my current score. Overestimated my it's like my station here, I think.
Yes. Which are some of the best penalty moves, by the way. So
Okay.
what do you do?
So let's see. So a penalty move is just complete disrespect.
Yes. We can actually go to the rules for that. That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
So you're choosing to utterly disrespect your opponent. You can interpret that flexibly, but the most common examples are turning your back to the opponent with the intent to leave or intentionally disarming yourself. And then when you roll over your current score, it fails. Your opponent scores a point and gains priority on the next turn. You incite a response from your opponent, but the passion that you provoke elicits such an intense retort that you are compelled to turn back around or retrieve your weapon and display serious vulnerability.
Perfect.
Your own reaction should surpass the intensity of standard move loss and be just as fervent as your opponent's would have been if your roll had succeeded.
Perfect. I know exactly what I want. Is
Cool.
I want, like, regardless of like the results, I would have chosen to have Parole remark, seems like there's nothing of value in this room. And for the anyway, and I turn away and start to leave. But since I failed my penalty move, you get to do something that really twists a knife. Just get really dirty with it.
And I know what it is immediately. The camera is on you. Like it's following your back so you can't see me.
Mhm.
And then you hear, I don't know if you could hear that, but the spinning of a ring on metal. The long, long spin until you realize before you turn what you're hearing. And you turn around and there is the ring from our first mission finishing its swivel, landing on the desk as I turn the inscription towards you. And I say, nothing of value, huh?
Oh my God. Immediately, I think like the automatic doors of the office has already opened, but like just 180 immediately. Just like I think just a full body motion to turn back, because Parole just recognized what Arax just how dirty she did, like recognize it, but not unable to stop sort of like the passion about that and believing that it might be sort of like a mutual understanding, but also realizing like, or it's like remembering, no, we're enemies. Having to remind himself we're enemies at the moment, and I think with balled fists, he like sighs and looks at you, looks at the ring, and I think it might be. Oh no, this is perfect. A ray of light from the life support just like shines over like the interior and over his face, and it doesn't go over his mouth. It only shows the upper half of his face.
Yeah.
So like a very stage play production spotlight, and you see there is some water in his eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I request like a single dramatic tear?
Absolutely. Tears on request. Just
Yes.
like it slides down and like it goes into the dark of where the spotlight doesn't hit.
Yeah.
And like the stream behind it almost like fades along like when it hits the dark, as if to say like the reason why I'm shedding this is something that I'm putting it behind me in the shadows.
Yes, absolutely. I think she might say something else too. I'm trying to figure out for a second what it is. And oh, what is it?
What kind of like what?
Oh,
Oh,
I think it's like she's holding the ring and she's like, I'm glad at least you still care what I think about one thing.
oh.
And then, and I think there's a pause and she says, and she puts the ring back on. Yourself.
Damn. Okay, just coming for me with the like we're getting a divorce energy. Oh
Twisting the knives.
Yeah, for real. That's like going out with your friends again, huh? Playing mercenary. Okay.
Yeah,
I see
totally.
how it is. Oh my lord. Oh, that is powerful. That's powerful stuff. Oh, that's round. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's round.
And,
So
on
it
that
is
really briefly, sorry to interrupt.
5-3.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna, since we've been going for just over 2 hours, would you like to take a 5-minute break or something in the interim? Take a breather.
I think a 5-minute break sounds like a great idea.
Marvelous. We always like to go and take a break in the middle bit. Imagine if you were going to the theater and people did the 3-hour performance with no intermission. Everybody would be angry. So
It'd be a nightmare.
So everybody, please do get up and take a stretch, exercise those legs, hydrate, take a mean piss if you have to, and I will see you all with more I Have the High Ground in 5 minutes. And welcome back, everybody, to the second part of I Have the High Ground. My input volume seems to be working correctly, which is great. And we also have 2 astounding storytellers. For those who've been joining us since the first half, I hope you've also been gripped white-knuckled like Arax has been after she's been absolutely downloaded by Parole's incisive criticisms about her relationship with war. Let's go and introduce ourselves in reverse order from before. So please introduce yourself once more, Jess, and the character there.
Can do. I'm Jess, also known as Jess from Online. My pronouns are she, her, and my character is Admiral Arax. Astra. There we go. Admiral Arax Astra, a space commander, former member of the War Dogs, who left to take a commission with the Phalanx. Go ahead, Ruben.
Yeah, so I'm Ruben, also known as Urban Frienden on Twitter or on Medium, where I can read my cutting video game analyses if you're into that kind of stuff. Pronouns he, him. Right now I'm playing Parole Lovedeed, who is a, I guess, still working with the War Dogs, but betrayed the shit out of Admiral Astra.
Mm.
And whether he regrets that or not, we will find out through play.
Yes.
We are currently playing, for all the beautiful people out there. I have the high ground, written by the one and only Jess. You can get the game yourself. It is currently in post-crowdfunding backing, which you can get right there. And there is even a special code available for y'all just this stream. I have no idea if you're disabling the code after the stream, but for now, you can enter promo code. It's over Anakin, as posted in the chat, to get exclusive additional content free on top of this delightful game that we're playing, which I am very enthralled by. Good God.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very happy with how this story's going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, me too.
All right.
Cool.
Take it away.
Speaking of, let's hop back in. So our last thing that happened was that penalty move where you turned and went to walk away. And told me that there was nothing, didn't see anything in this room that mattered. And then I spun the ring that we got after our surviving our first mission together, and nothing matters, huh? And then I told you that I was glad to see that you still cared about my opinion on one thing, yourself. And then that's where we left off. And I have priority because you lost that penalty move. And we pick moves. I have mine.
Just a question. Like, you're allowed to use multiple penalty moves during a game, right?
Oh, no, once.
Okay, just once. Okay, so that's good to know. So I can't use that anymore.
Cool. But I may still opt to penalty if I want.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Oh man, what would Parole do? Okay, no, I have it.
Cool.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, mark. I fainted, you thrusted. Another win for you.
Another win.
Parole just so prepared.
I know. Like, I completely downloaded.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god. Okay, so basically you just got under my skin. Just really just filled my heart with needles, that one. And I think we should focus on like the inscription of the ring, like what's inside the band. I have it's almost like Parole spent 2 weeks in a simulator learning Arax. Oh yeah, this is all rehearsed. It actually has like a little AI module installed that's like whispering lines. It's like it's called like stagehand.exe.
Absolutely, I love that concept.
Because the last thing he wants to be is underestimated in this context. I think I have an idea of what's inside the band, but I want to hear your take on it first, because you revealed it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about something along the lines of like a space language motto, not Latin, but space Latin, of like no one left behind, or like we fight for each other, or basically something that we said it's rings that you get when you survive a mission. And so I think it's like everyone comes home sort of thing. And so me not staying with the war dogs would be an insult to this that you can like kind of play off of. That was where that idea came from.
Oh, I really love that, especially because it's like, yeah, this is survive, like we're in this together, very, very like focused on the camaraderie of it all. I was thinking a little more poetic, where the band just says, "This too shall pass," and whether or not that refers to your survival or the war itself you're fighting in is very ambiguous.
Absolutely, totally down.
This too shall pass.
Cool. So it's this too shall pass, and you thrusted. Do you want to come out immediately with something that like ties into that?
Yeah, I think because I'm also wearing a lot of rings, I think, or even better, I think I'm wearing gloves, and I just take my gloves off and just throw them at the floor in front of you, and you see the exact amount of rings, number of rings as when I betrayed you. Like I have not put on a single ring more since the last time we saw each other.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Ah,
And you wanna have your heart broken even more?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think instead of like different rings, they're all the silver ones with this too shall pass.
Is there anything you wanna say, or do you want me to just have react to your like silent at
And when I'm
reveal?
got the bling out, just like no, I think I say like I show the rings and the words this too shall pass are like othered by God. Nathan, can we get it? This too shall pass.
Are you saying like in the camera's eye it just like comes non-diegetically, like
Yeah.
not from either of us?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like it says this too shall pass, but I think parole adds to that, but someone has to end it.
Yes, absolutely. I think her response, but someone has to end it, and I want it to be and I think it's this moment of her starting to accept, like, she's starting to realize not only is she not getting through to you, but she is not in a place that she's trying well. Like, she knows that you are digging into something that hurts too much in her, and that this is not going to end with her convincing you. And she's like, for the first time, her mask is cracked for anger, but not in like sadness. And she's like, what's the exact word? It's like, is that what you came here to do, Parole? To end me? And like, I don't want this to be a victory. I want this to be a moment of weakness for her, because like she doesn't want to reveal that she cares about that. So like that's a vulnerable reveal. And you could draw attention to that, or you could also like play off of it in that like, actually you've offered me other ways and I'm not taking them. So like you can highlight that I am the one pushing things in that direction. I don't know, just given lots of, I don't want that to come off as I'm trying to have a victory. That's like trying to get her vulnerability.
No, because I think I have a very good comment for that, which is like you say, sorry, what was the exact words?
It was, is that why you've come here, Parole? To end me?
And Parole says, I just don't want you to end it all for yourself. Someone has to step in before you destroy everything you've worked for.
And I think her hand goes to the ring and spins it. And she looks away from you. She won't look you in the eye.
Oh,
Like hides her face.
Sweet baby.
Shame.
Oh no. Round?
Yeah. Oh. And you're a priority. God, you're getting up there. This is dangerous.
Okay.
Okay.
I am going to do this one. Okay, yeah, I know.
Your count.
3, 2, 1.
Parry.
Parry.
No, I was so worried.
Oh my god.
Because you have priority. You win it this time.
Oh shit.
It's 7-3.
7-3. Come at the king, you better not miss.
Yeah, apparently I'm missing a lot. Wow. Okay. So I think I have a comeback, but you really are patient and pull it. And I think, so you've just said, like, you're basically saying I'm staging an intervention. And My idea for this is something along the lines of you offering me a chance, like you offering me the ability to walk back my shit, and me trying to use that as an opportunity to insult you, and then you just like coming in for the kill, right? Like I think I can like belittle this. I can belittle your attempt to do this, and then you hit me in a place I can't ignore.
I think I know what action I want to do is I take out the one brass knuckle.
Yeah.
And I ask you, do you still have the other one? And I don't like I think you don't.
That you're like, do you still have the other one? And she like reaches a hand towards a part of her jacket and then stops and looks at the hand and drops it.
It hurts me too.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, that was from another time, Parole.
From where I'm standing, you haven't done any growing up at all.
Oh, no.
Sorry,
Round. Absolutely, round.
Oof. I love this because I've got Zoom open and I also see Nathan's face and I can judge from Nathan's like silent reaction. So like oh damn.
So I had my webcam off before the break and I realized that I left this webcam on after the intermission and I'm like, oh, so they can now see me reacting to drama unfold now.
Yeah, I saw you go like ooh, like biting your knuckle like damn.
Trying to do that and also remain quiet on mic is slowly becoming a struggle. Anyway.
Round. Jess, is there like, because you know the end is nigh here, I see it approaching, unless the tide turns. Is there something you are very keen on exploring between Parole and Arax?
I don't think so necessarily, because I think the thing I'm most interested in is possibly a moment where it seems like Arax might turn. Like just from the direction that it's going, I actually think I want to get really close to that, depending on like how the tokens fall. But that's my current sort of narrative idea.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, yeah, let's.
Cool, I got it.
Got it. Me too. You have priority, so.
Yep. 3, 2, 1. Mark. Parry. Fate. Oh my god! I've never seen a win streak this long. That's nuts.
Your next word shall be. Oh my god. Okay, so I don't think we have had a feint win, right?
Yeah, we haven't had a feint win. Let's go to it. So, feint win. The victor offered provocation or bait, and the loser took it. In a feint win, the victor hit the loser in an emotional tender spot and took a threatening action, which makes the loser particularly nervous and jumpy. The loser must narrate a significant and vulnerable reaction to the bait. But remember, the victor still reserves the right to the last narration for the turn. So, what are you doing? What are you doing to provoke me?
I think I reach out a hand. And I go like, actually I don't say anything. I just reach out my hand towards you.
So that's perfect, because this is the 8th point, meaning I mandatorily have to draw my weapon.
I forgot.
You reach out a hand, and the moment I see the movement of your hand at your side, I draw, thinking that you're going for your weapon. So you put out a hand, and I draw on you, and the camera is just frozen there. It's like a side profile shot of your hand out and my weapon pointed at you.
Oh, we more. Oh my god. Oh, that's.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I know. Oh,
Uh-huh.
this is heavy.
It's really heavy.
We created these people 3 hours ago.
I know that one of my friends described I have the high ground as a game for like creating stakes and investment. Like it is a game for making what happens to people feel important. And I'm really proud of the ways that it realizes that. Like,
Oh yeah, this it really helps. Just like the prep and then how fast the actual like showing of hands is, and then you go in on that. Like it's so powerful. Oh my goodness.
thank
Okay.
you. Okay. This could be it. And you have priority. With the standard moves, you have, I think, a 66% chance of winning. Right here, and me never passing 3 points. I have never seen a blowout quite like this if it ends here, though it might not.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm like scared because I don't want this to end.
I know, right? I have that feeling. Like we do have a good climactic moment. I just love these characters and I want them to keep.
Same. Oh, okay. As heartbreaking as it is, I have selected my next move.
Yep, I have too. Okay, give me a count.
3, 2, 1.5, 1.25, 1.
Penalty.
Oh my god.
There is
Shit.
I have to roll. Oh, I have to roll a 2 to win. It's the only way I can win this round. But it's what I would, it is correct for my character narratively. And I also love the drama of that.
You need snake. Oh my fucking god.
I am rolling for snake eyes.
And after you draw your weapon too.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Here we go. Rolling 2d6. That's a 10. Same roll as Parole.
Of course it is.
That takes us into the resolution, folks. I have to attempt to blow. However, when you do a penalty move as part of the resolution, it is if your opponent reaches 9 points, you might instead stop at the door, wait in furious stillness for a few seconds, and then in one motion, draw your blaster out from your windswept cape, pivot, and advance on them firing. So in some way, I have to try to leave or disarm myself and then fire. And so I think what it is in this moment, and you have the right as the victor to ask me to do something different, and you also have the right to parry or block whatever blow I try to make or dodge. But I think what it is you're offering this hand, and my gun is in the air, wavering. And I start to lower my arm, place the gun onto the desk with my hand sitting on it. And you can tell in my eyes, this is not a ruse. This is inviting you to come forward. Like my other hand starts to go across the desk. And it is inviting you to come forward and convince me, to like make me make this decision that I can't make on my own.
I think what I do, and I love this idea, so I'm going along with it. Parole gives you the trademark, looking up the eyebrow, like, is it? And then looks up at you, takes a step towards you, kind of like spreads his arm wide, is like all like the wings of a bird, and goes just very nonchalantly like, hey, we all make mistakes.
And I think this moment if you don't mind me bringing something outside of our duel in, and we can
Mhm.
totally retcon this if you do. We talked about there being a door. What if there's a porthole in the door?
Mhm.
And in just that moment, one of my troops gets flung at the door, and we see their head hit the porthole
Ooh.
and drop. Like I see one of my troops die outside. And I
And
pick
you
up the gun and fire.
fire, of course. Yes, no, absolutely. And to build on that, your train shot. You you hit me. I fall over. Whether it's a one hit kill, like whatever, it doesn't really matter at this point. But as I fall over, like I'm still like with my arms thrown wide. I like fall backwards, and then the what's the word? Forget the word.
The cape.
The shawl. Yeah, my cape that I wear as a shawl just flings forward, and you see waving in the wind, sort of like the frayed emblem of War Dog Squadron. As
And I shot it. There's a singe hole through the center of the War Dogs logo
No.
where
Oh.
I have shot it through. And it's just laying draped out from you
Mhm.
as you lay on the floor.
And yeah, like I just look up at the life support lights, just like traveling over me, over our faces, and the smile of relief that I had while walking towards you, and the forgiveness that we had for each other, just still on my face, just almost redemptive. Just we both found absolution in the last moment, and then the war caught up again.
And I think I just dropped the gun and it clatters to the floor. Then I think that scene, right?
That's-
Me standing over you.
Oh my god.
Oh, my heart. Okay, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm fine.
All right,
Fine.
let's breathe in. Wave the eyes. Okay, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Excellent work. Excellent work.
Oh.
Excellent work. Gosh. That has been I Have the High Ground. Let's go move over to the holding screen that we normally use to do our little debriefing. Whoop. Okay. Oh, so what do you think about that, viewers? Please, those of you in the chat, I would love to see you scream, clap, and applaud for our two fantastic performers today. You witnessed some motherfucking theater, if I may say so myself. So please do give it up for Jess and Ruben for their performance today. Do we have a title for this play that we have told in 2.5 hours? Is it The Phalanx?
Oh fuck, that's honestly, that would be such a good rule to like at the end name the play you just gave. Oh my fucking god.
Absolutely. I'm thinking it has to be maybe the themes of forgiveness and redemption, or the themes of like something playing off that, or something playing off like the mission versus the personal relationship. But I'm trying to figure out what that is, because I really like this prompt.
While you're doing that, I am going to put on a little bit of background music for the chat while we do our debriefing. It's warning to the chat, it's going to be a little bit loud before I get the opportunity to audio balance it, because VLC be like that though. But I'll let y'all mull over.
Oh, I'm trying to play with in my head like rings, and like rings of time, like. What is it?
I have a working title. It's a phrasal. It's a phrasal title. And or it was a question. The title is a question, which like, what if we named this "Does the ring fit over a brass knuckle.
Oh wow.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't mind me tweaking it slightly,
Go ahead.
can you wear rings on a brass knuckle?
You wear rings. That's much better. Oh, that's impact. Yes. Can you wear rings on a brass knuckle?
And like also implying that like the knuckle itself, like it's not a set of brass knuckles. It is that she has hardened like metal. Can you wear rings on a brass knuckle?
We have layers. Nice.
Okay.
One of the things we like to do before we go and wrap up and like, you know, oh, you're right.
Yeah, no, there was firework playing for us in the background. So
that's the remainder of your personal like companies fighting outside. What we like to do before we end our sessions and we go and do our self-promo bits and pieces is comments and kudos, where we go around the table, but there's only two of you in this instance, and just say one thing that the other person did that you think is dope. A particular line, a particular scene, an angle that they were talking about, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we enjoy about the system, because we like doing that at the end of the sesh as well. So, who would like to go first on giving kudos?
I am so ready. That monologue you gave on like the second or third turn was jaw-dropping. Like I almost didn't want to talk after it because I just wanted it to like get to bask in its own moment. That like about like you having like seen the consequences of my actions, like you having been down to those planets, the stars that I am taking from them. Like, are you kidding me? The poetry of it, that was on the fly, Ruben. It's beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
And this is what happens when they get to have two writers on stream. You know, this is fits both and Ruben of your creative elements. How you like to approach work pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
My one published story, The Direction of Clocks, which I got published in Clark's World, Ruben was one of like the key editors for that piece. Like it is only in the state that it was because of Ruben, and we've both like edited each other's writing a ton, so it's really nice to get to take that back and forth into a live narrative.
So yeah, not only are Jess and I friends and also huge nerds, we also know each other as like creative minds and how we approach fiction. So we like this was a miracle waiting to happen. Just what we produced, like it was inevitable, but it was so good. For my kudos, what I just like made my jaw literally drop. The penalty move at 3 points. Just that was for me just like I was wondering, you know, is she gonna be able to do it? Like I was like doing reverse psychology, trying to not pick the thing that would make me win, you know? And then you pick the penalty move and I was like, oh my god, of course it goes like this. Of course, like the mechanics almost mirror the messiness of their like of these two persons like relationship, their engagements, their military history, and it just made me just like quiet. I was trying not to scream because it was just so just out of left field, but it was so correct.
To quote Valthek in chat,
I was like
1 in 36, let's go. So like they immediately knew the odds of that kind of cool shot. And then imagine if you had made that. Imagine. Wow.
And that would have been, it just would have lost our minds.
Yeah. I think if that would have happened, I think like if you rolled Snake Eyes at that such a pivotal moment, like you win. Like just skip all the point, just you win. It's done.
Actually, very funnily, the original rules for if you roll exactly your current number is that your opponent immediately wins and ends the game.
Of course.
That did not go well in play testing. It was quickly revealed that like it kind of sucks to think you have a whole game ahead of you and then just be cut off.
Okay.
And so like it didn't feel good, but the drama of it, I totally understand that impulse. In fact, that's the first thing that I wrote.
It would have made sense for this yes. one, but other stories. Okay, gotcha. Wow. But still very, very good. Very like it's like the desperation, like the advantages that we picked. We almost like picked for each other almost.
I think it flipped throughout the course of
Yeah.
it, right?
Mhm.
Like, and I think that's really nice to see the way the story can evolve during the like arc of play, because those are just the setup. Those are the sections literally called background. So like in play, we see that like grow and change.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's definitely a little bit
Yeah,
of
no,
design work to get the world building side of a game to be part of the entertaining game experience by itself. It's why people play Microscope, for example, are spending the entire game building the world and the backstory on it, and you've managed to make that really engaging part of this game in itself and make it a really tight experience in that kind of way and fun just to do that part. Because you two immediately fell in love with the characters that you made. It's like, oh, I want a novel with these two.
Yeah.
So, you know, the system works. The system works.
The system does work. Oh my god.
Thank you. And I'll also say, like, I have a saying that repeats in my head a lot from a game that I haven't released anything about, but I'm working on a game that is inspired by like ensemble science fiction TV shows, which are like my central media consumption. And that like it's meant to have play sets from different shows, and I'm doing a Battlestar Galactica inspired one, big surprise. But one of the things that it does is it takes it from the perspective, you aren't a player, you're a writer, and your party is a writer's room. And like the whole thing is themed like you are shooting a TV show that is your game, and like you have episodes instead of sessions. But specifically, your session 0 is your pitch, like your pitch and then your pilot.
Oh, that's fun.
And one of the sayings from that book is pitch is play. Like in that set, there's so much work to do for session 0 in that game specifically. Like it's really long. But what I emphasize is like pitch is play. This is actually part of storytelling. And like, don't think of this as what you're trying to do to get to that other place. This is a form of playing.
A form of it, yeah.
Uh,
And Nathan, what's your kudos?
Oh, I mean,
Yeah, drawing it in.
sure. I mean, as I say, I really enjoyed just watching you two fall in love with your characters over the course of the session. You know, that's I'm usually not one for lore and backstory. I'm very much a play to find out, and then in the moment be like, oh no, that's a moment of what the truth of their backstory kind of thing. So it's always really fascinating to go and see that approach, different approaches taken by different people for those types of character building. And I thought that was really, really great. As I say, you know, we have lots of different people on our channel to tell stories together, and all of them feel very different and feel like a harmonized energy of the people we're putting into that story. And this is such a specific and very different energy to most of the stuff that I've run on channel before. So I feel very lucky that you approached us to go and demo your game. Genuinely.
Thank you, Ruben, for suggesting it.
Yeah, I'll definitely want to run it again with music tech that I know works, rather than having to go and fight with it. But also, actually, we talked a little bit about this off air previously. I am a character on the Campaign Skyjacks podcast. I play Captain Oromar Vale, dead pirate Dilf. By other people's description, people are down bad for this dead man. But there is a lot of this energy of sword fighting, but emotionally, that are in the backstories, a lot of the characters in the cast. And I think James, our GM and producer, would go cuckoo bananas for this game. So I am definitely going to be passing this over to him to see if we can fit it into the show. We are miles ahead of current airing, so I can't promise this will be in anybody's ears for quite a while, but I think he'd really dig this. So
thank you, Nathan. That's so cool. Cool.
No,
Okay.
it's good. This is what being a community of tabletop creators is about, isn't it?
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Neat. I'm fine.
On that note, why don't y'all introduce yourselves one last time? Go for it, Ruben.
Oh God, you're putting me on the spot. Tank Fly, Boss Walk, Jam, Nitty Gritty. You've listened to the boy from Big Bad City. I have been Ruben, aka Parole Love Deed in this session. Former life person, now dead. it just so happened to go that way. That's the nature of the theater of cruelty. You can find me on Urban Frienden, either on Twitter or on Medium, where you can look at my writing on video games. And that's my existence on the internet. And I'll passing it on to you, Jess.
Cool. So, as I said a couple times, I'm Jess Levine, otherwise known as Jess from Online, which is where you can find me on Twitter, also on itch, jessfromonline.itch.io. You can also go to my website, which I'll put in chat right now, which is http://jessfrom.online. And that has all of my work. I do a lot of different things. I have a few albums out. I have a story in Clark's World. I also do some nonfiction, and I have 2 games. I have The High Ground being one of them. As I said, you can get I Have the High Ground on Game on Tabletop, because we said fuck Kickstarter, fuck crypto. Like for the rest of today, you all using the code It's Over Anakin can get a special tier. At the $30 tier, you don't just get a premium set, which includes the tokens, 9 of these, and a burlap bag to put it in, and the zine, and 2 custom dice. You get that, and for free, you also get a handwritten dedication from me on your zine, and an early access PDF, meaning you get a copy right now, and of the playtesting rulebook, and you get an extra community copy, meaning that someone else gets a chance to download it if they can't afford the game, more than you would get on the standard tier. So use that code for the discount bundle tier today, and you get all those bonuses. You can find all the rest of my work on that website. Oh, also, this week was my birthday. This is my birthday week.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So I'm also selling absolutely everything I have ever sold in one bundle for a discount on my itch. So I will go ahead. That's only available until literally Monday, so 2 more days. But you can get everything I've ever made in the Jess from Online Central Archive right there. I think that's all I got. A lot of self promo, but
no problem at all.
I do want to give it. Cool. I do want to give a thank you, because we have. I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, but for those who weren't there, one of the people who actually did some design consulting for the game in chat. So thank you, Seda, so much for your design input on this game. The descriptors and circumstances mechanics owe a lot to like developmental playtesting done with Seda. So I just want to say thank you there. And yeah, awesome. Thank you for having me, Nathan.
No problem at all. No, it's been rad. It's been rad. I have once again been your androgynous android game show host from the future, Nathan Blades. We are actually, I think I'm in a position to go and actually formally talk about this now. We've had a bit of irons in the fire on our Discord of other creators. In July, late July, we are going to have the weekend of Phantom Arts Fest, back to back GM'd sessions by members of the Neoncaster Twitch stream community, running a wide variety of different things. We will be talking more about that, and also be posting castings on my Twitter, probably in the coming weeks or so. So please do give us a follow at Phantom Arts Ent down there to go and see Wagwan and get excited for the various games that we'll be running. I will be running, I'm sure you're wondering why I've gathered you here this evening, which is a Vincent Price 'em up.
Vincent Price 'em.
Which I adore, and I wrote a scenario for the book, the Kickstarted book, which I'll be running for this, a fusion of cyberpunk and 1920s drama.
Cool.
It's going to be cool. But thank you. We are going to go and raid. There is a Roll for Good that's going on this weekend, doing a wide variety of different tabletop RPGs for charity, benefiting World Central Kitchen. And they are still going and will be going for the next good number of hours. So why don't you all go over there and give them your love and adoration and maybe some ducats. And we will see y'all next week, probably with more Pokemon Black and White Nuzlocke. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you all again next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.